Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? Here on episode number 42 of Timberwolves Explosion. It is a pleasure to have you on board with me once again today. I thank each and every one of you always for downloading and listening to this show. Great to have you on board. As mentioned, this show is available on thesportstuff.com and on iTunes, and is also hosted on timberwolvespress.com. A pleasure working with them as well. All right, well, today's show, of course, we're going to get into 4 games. That's right, 4 games. Aren't you excited? The Wolves, of course, 1-3 in that span. A pretty violent loss, a pretty vulgar loss to the, whatever word I can use for it, to the LA Clippers at home, losing by 25. 120-95 on the 16th, Wednesday the 16th. Last Friday, a 112-96 victory over Sacramento. That also at home. Wolves then head to Boston on the 20th, Sunday the 20th, lose 122-104. And then last night, another just another disgusting loss at home. And no, it's not. I'm not here coming up here saying, hey, we can't lose games because we're not rebuilding. We're supposed to win 50 games this year. No, of course not. But still, it was a really unimpressive performance. It just was. It was unimpressive. If you're going to lose, I like to see signs of things. And the Clipper game and the Atlanta game really stood out to me in a big way. Those games were pretty disgusting, to be honest. So at least in Boston, you saw some energy from Johnny Flynn. So we're going to get into those. And we're going to get into some Al Jefferson conversation, but right in between the games and the Jefferson conversation, which will, of course, start up the next segment. There'll be 2 segments today. This one right here, I'll do the game reviews and such, and banter about the games and about players on the team and stuff, like always. A little bit of background stuff on the way, and then, of course, the second deal, we have a call from Bob from Minneapolis. So, Bob, if you were wondering, I got your call in pretty much just a few hours after I had finished the last show. So no, I did not miss your call on the previous show. I didn't know about it yet. I received it about 9 p.m. in the night, and I did the show at about 3 in the afternoon that day. So last Tuesday. So nope, did not miss your call. You will be on the air today. Lots of points covered by Bob, and we're going to try to get to all of them. I got them all right here. Good, very good call-in. Looking forward to talking about it. So here we go. We're going to get into the games right now, and then, of course, we'll get into Al Jefferson. That's kind of how Bob's call perfectly segues into Al Jefferson with one of his closing statements in his phone call. So gotta like that. Gotta like how that turned out. It's perfect. So here we go. The game against the Clippers. This, of course, last Wednesday, a week ago already. My time flies. Couldn't have gone far, and couldn't be far enough away, though. The LA Clippers are having a decent season. They were 11-13 as of that night after their victory over the Wolves. Chris Kaman, my God, has that guy really come on? He is really becoming a great player. He's averaging about 20 and 10 this year, and didn't really see that coming from him. He's been pretty much an injury-prone guy all year. Eric Gordon was all over the place. Just hardly anything positive going on. Marcus Camby, 5 blocks in the game, was everywhere. We're constantly talking about how this guy, even though he's 35 years old, he still plays like he's about 20s, mid to upper 20s. I mean, he's still about the same player he was 10 years ago. About 8 to 10 years ago, I haven't really seen any change. He's been injury prone in his past, but still looks really, really good. Does Marcus Camby, man, I cannot believe it. Really, nobody stood out in this game other than Kevin Love, though. I mean, for the Wolves, it was a pretty rough game. Statistically, Nathan Jawai, you could argue, had his best game of the year. But there was some ugly stuff as well. Corey Brewer got blocked 4 times in the game. 4 times. It was just, the Clippers made us look like crap pretty much most of the game. Flynn was fairly unimpressive, didn't shoot well. Only 3 assists in the game, 2 turnovers. That's not a good assist-to-turnover ratio, you might add. And, of course, Ryan Gomes being out of the lineup doesn't help. It really doesn't. He's that stabilizer, and the Wolves, Damian Wilkins is also that kind of player, but when you're missing one of them, particularly the actual starter of the two, it's not good. It's not good at all. And the Wolves don't seem to count on Damian Wilkins as much as Ryan Gomes. And I happen to like Damian Wilkins quite a bit, but really the most positive aspect of the night was Kevin Love. He just continues to shine brightly. Sessions was solid. The Sessions, see, I'm really starting to see why they are commenting on how Sessions is good in the triangle. He's not a shooter. He's not a shooter, and I know that's probably about the main thing for me. You need at least a couple guys who can hit those outside shots in the triangle because you're moving the ball around like crazy. You need a big man who's competent, or two, and the Wolves have two. Neither of them are a true center, though, unfortunately, but you get the idea. You need that. You need a guy on the block, and then you need at least two decent perimeter shooters as you're moving the ball around, because if like in the Laker era, well, if Shaq's double teamed, you're able to kick it out really quick to the, when you're rotating the ball literally in a triangle, you're able to kick it out to the perimeter shooters who are rotating around, and all of a sudden, by gum, one of them's wide open, and they continue to knock down those shots. And, now that they're focusing on the outside shot, Shaq single teamed, boom, and that it gets that way with Jefferson, too, when he can get those shots inside. He seemed to kind of revert back to his baby hook more in this game. I didn't really see as much up and under from him. And the times he did do it, he got to the free throw line. Jefferson doesn't get to the free throw line when he relies on that baby hook shot. It's too much of a... You're pretty much just trying to evade the defender rather than draw contact, whereas on the up and under, it's a little bit more of a physical style, and it's just better. It just plain is better. But I'm kind of rambling around, but kind of went off topic. I was getting into Sessions here. What Sessions does, his passing, his release on his pass is fantastic. It really is. Like, he got 3 assists in this particular game, but every one of them, though, it's, they rotate the ball around, they kick it out to one of the perimeter guys, it gets to Sessions, and all of a sudden the ball is out of Sessions' hand and already into a wide open Kevin Love or somebody like that, maybe a Damian Wilkins right under the basket. It's just, it's awesome to watch. Or Corey Brewer, actually, because Corey Brewer cuts a lot to the basket, and that's good. That's part of the triangle as well. Everybody's rotating around. The ball usually moves in a triangle motion. Sessions does a good job in that, and that's where I'm really impressed with Ramon Sessions. The guy can't shoot. He did make all 8 of his free throws in this game, though, which is amazing. Ramon Sessions making all 8 free throws, that's absolutely amazing. But the guy who actually played fairly decent, though, was Nathan Jawai. 9.7 assists. He led the Wolves in scoring going into halftime. How about that? Just, you look at it and you see the halftime leaders. Nathan Jawai? Unfortunately, no, he didn't score any more in the second half. What a frickin' surprise. And, of course, he was blocked pretty harshly down the stretch by Marcus Camby. It was pretty ugly. He blocked a couple times yet again. It's just embarrassing. Twice. He got blocked twice, and then Al Jefferson blocked, I'm not looking at this properly, but Nathan Jawai actually was the guy that blocked Al Thornton. Nathan Jawai blocked Al Thornton on a layup attempt. People went crazy. And that was pretty much the highlight of the game, other than Kevin Love playing pretty good. Nathan Jawai blocked Al Thornton. That was just funny. He's just not the kind of guy that you see as a shot blocker even a little bit, so it was just kind of funny to watch. Al Thornton put up a pretty lazy attempt because he figured out Jawai will never block it. He's too roly-poly, I guess you could say. He's not an athletic guy. He's just not. And he's slow and all that stuff. But, okay, enough of this game. It sucked. End of story. And let's move on. So the next game, luckily the Wolves wake up, and they are on – they get the long straw in this game. They actually won by 16 points. The Timberwolves won by 16 points against the Sacramento Kings, avenging a 20-point loss a mere 6 days earlier in Stacto, in California's capital, where Arnold likes the Sacramento Kings. He loves them very much. It's a beautiful thing. But, okay, enough of that. What a fun game this was. This was the game of the week by far for the Wolves, obviously, because the rest of them were just blowouts. They were very ugly blowouts. Friday the 18th. This Brewer had some steals that led him to exploding to the basket, which is exactly what I liked about him in the 07 draft. In this game, Corey Brewer looked exactly like the guy that I was hoping the Wolves were going to take with the 7th pick in the 07 draft. And they took him, so they took him, but he wasn't that guy for quite a while. But finally, he showed some of that here on this particular night. It was a beautiful thing to see. Tyreek Evans wasn't amazing. He shot poorly. He only had 10 points. He was 4-12 from the floor, but he did get 8 assists in the game. And that was the good part, at least. But I got to think the fact that Tyreek Evans didn't really... He was pretty much off his game offensively on this particular day, and that just did not help the Kings at all. Beno Udrih continuing to hit threes. He was 8 of 14 from the floor overall. Just a nice shooting night for a team that overall didn't shoot so well in the game. Only 43%. The Wolves shot 55% in this game. So it was more or less just the Wolves dominated the Kings offensively. It was just they had their fresh legs. Their shots were sharp, and the Kings weren't. It was just not the Kings' night at all. This Jason Thompson kid, though, wow. I mean, I started to like him last year when he was a rookie. Man, what a beast. I don't really think of him as a center. He's not really that tall, but he's a center on the Kings. And, of course, this is the era where most of the centers in the league are power forwards now. Jefferson, Amari Stoudemire, and so many others. Shucks, even at some point you could even say Dwight Howard is more of a power forward than a center. Really? I mean, he's only like 6'10", right? So it's weird. You know, he's not the classic 7-foot guy like a Ryan Hollins. Yet Ryan Hollins, he's definitely not like a true center either. He doesn't play that style. He's more of a mid-range shooter, it seems like, other than his inside dunks. And he had definitely, he had some on this particular day. 4 of 5 from the floor, all pretty much that inside game by Ryan Hollins. And it was pretty impressive. So before I get too long-winded, for the sake of time, we'll get going here. As Kevin Love continued to dominate on the boards into the second half and did a really nice post move for an and one off the glass, which drew a foul from Tyreek Evans. Yeah, Evans, this wasn't his day at all. Kevin Love he's been having a really nice year. You could almost say Kevin Love's the MVP right now. In fact, I would probably say Kevin Love is the MVP of the Timberwolves right now, to be honest, because Johnny Flynn's too inconsistent. Jefferson is also inconsistent. Love has been consistent. I mean, he had, 20 rebounds last night? We'll get to that in a sec. After a quiet first half, though, Johnny Flynn really started to pick up his game in the second half, getting 5 quick assists in the third quarter. He had 5 assists in the third quarter after having none in the first. One was a nice behind the back pass to an open Hollins in the pick and roll. It was a beautiful play. Not to mention 6 points in the third as well. So Johnny Flynn definitely stepped up in that third quarter, and that was when the Wolves started to really make a move in this particular day. The Wolves led pretty much the whole game, but they really built up in that second half, particularly led by Brewer, attacking on the break, hitting the occasional shot. He actually hit a couple shots in the game too, but mostly attacking on the break and setting up K. Love on that and one with a perfect entry pass. It was perfect. Perfect entry pass. As a good entry pass is one of the most underrated aspects of the game, as it can really play an important role in the success of your big man. It really can. It makes the game so much easier. Obviously, your field goal percentage goes up when you're making plays like that, and that's pretty much why the Kings whooped our you-know-what a week before, because they were the ones, doing those entry passes to guys pretty much right under the basket. I got to stop saying so much. Ugh, it's annoying me as I'm saying it, so I apologize to you listeners out there. I'm starting to sound like Denard Span here. But, okay, enough of that. But, yeah, it really does. It's just basketball such a simple game if you just pay attention. Just stay alert, make some nice passes, and it changes. I mean, everybody's field goal percentage is way, way up. It's probably about 10% higher usually for your team when you can make that split decision right there in the spot and zing that ball into somebody. And Corey Brewer's starting to figure that out. A guy named Wayne Ellington's really getting, he's starting to show a little bit of that as well. He really is. And He made a really nice pass last night. Unfortunately, it was his only assist because he didn't get to play much, but I'll get to that in a sec. So this was the 80th game in the all-time series with the Kings. The Wolves led 40-39 coming into this game. Thankfully, it's 41-39 now. Damian Wilkins also showed his value after a Jefferson miss, slapping the ball out of Green's hands and scoring for an and one. That was a pretty good play. Definitely a good play there. A perfect example of a triangle play was shown when Jefferson did a quick pass out of the post to Sessions, who immediately zinged the ball into an open Brewer for a layup. That's what the triangle is all about, folks. And there it is. There's another example of where Ramon Sessions' value comes in with the triangle. Now, it's not just Sessions; it's Jefferson getting it to Sessions, because it's almost like in hockey where it's two guys getting assists. You set up the first guy to set up the next guy. It's boom, boom, boom. That's how it works, and that's excellent. That's what I like about the triangle. I love that kind of stuff. I used to watch the Lakers very closely, not because I like them, but because I like the triangle offense. That's what it is. Jefferson clearly showing his classic post moves again and not mortgaging his game on the baby hook like he'd been doing the first 5 weeks of the year. This game he really looked like the real deal in this particular game. Had a really, really nice game, did Big Al. At least down the stretch. His numbers don't really indicate that, but overall he played a smarter game. He had 16 and 9 in the particular day. Kevin Love had 16 rebounds and 5 assists to go with 20 points. I mean, what a valuable guy he has been for this team. And even Pavlovich hit 2 of 3 from three-point range. That's the amazing part. Mr. Inconsistent himself. I like Sasha Pavlovich. It's like his real name is Alexei Pavlovich, but they call him Sasha. It just gets confusing and kind of weird for a guy who's not even good. So enough of that. I got to keep going here. Moving right along, right? Sunday the 20th, the Wolves head to Boston. And no, it wasn't a one-point game like it was the last time. It really wasn't, was it? Not even close. Not even close. Rajon Rondo, 15 assists in the game, was everywhere. And you know what's amazing about Rajon Rondo? For a guy that can't shoot, so they say, and no, he's not a great outside shooter, his field goal percentage is about 50%. And it was 50% on this particular day. 6 of 12. So for a guy that can't shoot, he still gets it done one way or the other. And he got 15 assists in this game. I mean, this guy, Rajon Rondo, is one of the most underrated players in the league. Some people out there will tell you he's overrated. Oh, no. Oh, no. Rajon Rondo is an all-star point guard, in my opinion. And I wish so much that Rajon Rondo was in that Kevin Garnett trade. God. As Kevin McHale was vigorously trying to get the Celtics to give up Rondo in that deal. And McHale finally gave in when it was like, they just weren't going to bite. They weren't going to bite. If you're going to get this trade done, you had to just give in and take Sebastian Telfair. Sebastian Telfair, what an utter bust what an utter bust he's been from day one in the NBA. Yuck. He had his moments, but overall didn't like him at all. Fortunately for the Wolves, Johnny Flynn showed up to play as well. His eyes lit up a little bit more when he saw Rajon Rondo on the other side. And Rondo not only is a great overall point guard, about as true a point guard as you're going to get, but he's a great defender. But Johnny Flynn still got his 21 points. But it didn't come. It did come at a cost, though. 4 turnovers with only 2 assists for Johnny on this particular day. A little bit less organized with the ball as a point guard. Played more of like a shooting guard in this particular day when he was, as mentioned, 8 of 15 from the floor. Jefferson really stepped up. 9 of 18 from the floor, 20 and 11. Kevin Love was 15 and 11. Only shot the ball 8 times and made 5. Yeah, I got to get Kevin Love the ball a little more than that. But, of course, he was in foul trouble in this game. Ryan Hollins is in foul trouble every game. He fouled out last night as well. But in the Celtics game, yeah, he got 2 blocks but 5 fouls. He's just too out of control. If he can somehow stabilize his game a little bit, he might become a decent defender. But he's just too out of control. And that's unfortunate. It really takes away from something that just might be there when it comes to him. But overall, the Celtics, Paul Pierce and Ray Allen just dominated this game. Kevin Garnett was fairly quiet, only shot the ball 5 times in the game. Did get 2 blocks. Perkins got 3 blocks, though. Man, alive. Perkins a little bit crazy, but so 6 turnovers, but he played a pretty sound game overall, offensively and defensively. The guy is becoming a really nice player. As you remember how people were like, uh-oh, so this great 07-08 Celtics team, with the big 3. Yeah, look at the other 2 starters, though, Rondo and Perkins. Those 2 guys have worked out so nicely for the Celtics. Boy, what a step up they took last year, and they're even better this year. The guys that were looked on as role players or inexperienced and all that stuff are becoming pretty valuable pieces for this Celtics club. And I'm sticking with my prediction at the beginning of the year. The Celtics will win their 2nd title in 3 years, and most likely that'll be it in terms of winning championships. They may have an opportunity to win one more after that, but we'll see. Doesn't matter right now. This team, though, yeah, you can just tell. When I watch this team, they really play the game right, and I'm surprised the Wolves got 100 points against the Celtics with Garnett there. See, the Wolves got 100 last year against the Celtics when Garnett wasn't there, and Jefferson had a huge game and all that good stuff. He had another huge game, too. But the Celtics still just manhandled the Wolves down the stretch, and that's what matters most. The Celtics were just manhandling the Wolves the whole game as the Wolves tried to make it a teeny bit closer down the stretch, but it didn't really matter. Celtics just took us apart. Not very entertaining game for the Wolves. So now we get into last night's game, which was, to be honest, extremely boring. Jefferson and Love, though, both shot over 50%, but the guards did not. 5 of 12 for Brewer, 5 of 13 for Flame. Pretty slack, just out of control kind of game for the guards. As Brewer and Flynn combined for 7 turnovers. 7 turnovers, 5 for Jefferson, 3 for Wilkins. What a turnover nightmare. 22 for the Wolves. 22 to the Hawks, 10. The Atlanta Hawks team is really, really developing into something. Really developing into a nice team. They're actually, I believe they're tied with the Orlando Magic right now. How about that? Tied with the Orlando Magic for the lead in that Southeast Division. I would love to see this Hawks team make a move. It'd be better than seeing Orlando again, to be honest, who I thought was a pretty weak team in the NBA Finals. What a weak opponent they were for the Lakers. Some people out there are thinking Orlando is going to go back and win against LA this year. I can't go there. I can't do that. I disagree. I think they're good, but I don't think they're a championship team. Okay, another digress for me. What a surprise. Everybody on the Hawks played well, really, to be honest. And the Wolves just nothing great. Kevin Love, though, with 19 rebounds, not 20. 15 points, 17 points, and 10 for Al Jefferson. The forwards did play pretty good. It was the turnovers. Though this team is so sloppy in this game. And here's another thing. Ryan Hollins with 3 turnovers. Why is your backup center getting 3 turnovers? He also fouled out of the game. And even better, no blocks. Why is this guy looked on as such a great shot blocker when he doesn't get any? But real quick, one good thing, though, the guy was all over the place offensively. He really was. You give him the ball with an opening, around the paint area. That guy is going to put it in. He had one dunk where it looked like he was about 9 feet away from the rim, and he just put it in without really hardly jumping forward. This guy is a really long individual. If he can bulk up a little bit and tie up those loose ends defensively, stop being so out of control, the guy could be a pretty good player, but who knows if and when he will ever do that, really, to be honest. Now, one of those dunks by Ryan Hollins was just a great play by Wayne Ellington. He was kind of driving to the basket, turned, and flipped it to a cutting Ryan Hollins. Just a great, smart basketball play by a rookie shooting guard, Wayne Ellington. Just a really nice, sound play. I like Wayne Ellington. He's a pretty smart player. His shot selection isn't always great, but when he makes some of his passes, they're really nice plays. The guy's learning the triangle a little bit. That wasn't necessarily triangle. That was more of a break. But it looked good. I was impressed. Other than those couple of small aspects, not a pretty game. Not a pretty game at all. So I'm going to digress a teeny bit. It's still Hawks related, as that's pretty much all I need to say about the game. There's a little talk about Joe Johnson, possibly. It was started by Aussie Wolf, who's one of our loyal listeners to the show and a nice poster over there on sportstuff.com. I'm going to get into this super quick. That's pretty much, I'm done reviewing games now. But before I go to break, Joe Johnson. There's a talk about would he be a nice addition for the Wolves, or would he fit? Would he work for the Wolves? And I personally say he would definitely work for the Wolves. Yes, he would definitely be a fit. I think he would fit into the triangle nicely because he's a guy who can definitely hit that outside shot, and he's a good passer. He can drive, but he can also shoot from the outside. I mean, I think the guy would be wonderful for the triangle. He can definitely make some nice passes. He's just an overall good passer and a nice outside threat as well. A player like that, to me, fits in great into the triangle. He really does, in my opinion. If you disagree, you can call in and tell me, or post on the boards or whatever. But I also made that comment on the message boards. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to come here because Atlanta might offer him a ton of money, and I don't think you give $80 million to Joe Johnson. I just don't. He's good, but he's not Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade level. He's just not. Even Chris Bosh isn't Dwayne Wade level, but you get the idea. He's not in that tier. He's in the second tier, or tier 1A, so to speak, of free agency, in my opinion. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens. As it looks like this show is going to go a little bit long again, as I apologize. That's just the way it's going to have to be right now. Some of the rules on Timberwolves Press may have changed a little bit, so I might have a little more leeway here going on with this podcast. So I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to get to the call by Bob, and we're going to discuss Al Jefferson as well. So we'll be right back in a second. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, episode number 42 of Timberwolves Explosion. Of course, today is Wednesday, December 23rd, 2009. Not sure if I mentioned that, but as I mentioned, we got a call from Bob, who covers a lot of stuff, so we better get to that right now.
Hey, this message for Joey, host of the Timberwolves Explosion podcast. This is Bob in Minneapolis. Just want to say, love the podcast, Joey. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Just wanted to throw a quick comment in there about the Wolves. I know it's been a struggle this year for us. I've been a fan since '89. Went to the first game at the Metrodome, and been diehard ever since. But it's been tough, man, listening to these local reporters talking about how bad they are. I mean, the Wolves have stated from the beginning, with all their TV advertisements and radio advertisements, but they understand this is a rebuilding year. I mean, they've been basically giving tickets out. I mean, Rainbow Foods had a promotion a couple of weeks ago where if you bought like 2 gallons of milk, you got free tickets. So the Wolves have been doing everything to just try to get people in the seats. I think the ownership knows that, hey, this is a rebuilding year. They'd be lucky if they'll make a serious money this year. So I give them a lot of props for trying to build this team up. I think we're putting the right pieces in place. So I was very, very impressed with the Utah game the other night. To beat the Jazz twice like that is unbelievable. Jazz got a very good team, and what fun it was to watch Johnny Flynn with 3 seconds left. That really takes some guts to make a move like that. If you watch that, he just burned Williams around the right-hand side. It was unbelievable, that speed that Johnny Flynn's got. So that was fun to watch. NBA TV is still talking about Corey Brewer's dunk. They just showed a highlight of it, the one he had over Derek Fisher against the Lakers. So, the Wolves starting to get a little bit of props in the media, which I think is great. So it's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long season, but I think we got a lot of things in the right place. We can keep these guys. I see good things coming. I don't think I see Jefferson staying very long with us, but if we can build around the pieces we've got around him, I think we've got a lot of potential. So, anyways, keep up the great work, keep up the great podcast, and again, this is Bob in Minneapolis, diehard Timberwolves fan, so take care.
All right, I thank you for that call, Bob. It's a little long, but it's all right. Usually I'd say keep the calls to about a minute or a little bit longer. This one is about 2.5, but it's all right. We'll just keep going here. I'm not going to complain about it. It was good. It's great to have a call, and you're the actual first call-in to Timberwolves Explosion, so I appreciate that very much. Do consider signing up on the message boards on the sportstuff.com if you could, and definitely call again, Bob. That was excellent. So now I'll stop rambling and get to the call here. First of all, it's great to hear you're a fan. You've been a fan since '89. That's fantastic. I appreciate the kind words in my show as well, by the way. But, yeah, I've been a fan since '89 as well. You're going all the way back to the beginning. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the Metrodome back then. But other than that, yeah, I've been a fan for a long, long time. Back to the beginning, the Pooh Richardson era, Brad Lohaus, all those guys. Yeah, I could go on forever about all the old names on this team, including Tyrone Corbin, who's one of the better ones. Yeah, I definitely hear you about the negative local reporters in this town. It's pretty much they just blow them off. Like, look at KFAN pretty much. All they talk about is the Vikings. Now, I do a podcast on the Vikings, Purple Mafia, which is, I appreciate it very much. It's almost like my meal ticket here when it comes to podcasting because of the fan base. But it gets kind of old when it's all they talk about is the Vikings and not the Wolves. They just kind of blow them off, and they treat them like they're worthless, and who cares? Why even give a damn? You know, I disagree. I'm going to always give a damn. And plus, you know, like you say also in this call, there are too many good young players on this team for me to not be interested. I mean, you got Johnny Flynn, Corey Brewer's so fast. Kevin Love has got an all-around game on the offensive side with the assists. The rebounding is insane. That's tactically defensive, you could say, unless it's offensive rebound. And, you know, his inside game has improved. His outside game has really improved. And he's certainly faster, so that's something you could definitely get with. And, yeah, the Wolves have stated a million times it's a rebuilding year. And I even mentioned that on a video I did on youtube.com/Paladin Joe. Check that out, Bob, if you'd like, and other listeners out there. youtube.com/Paladin Joe. It's called Timberwolves Review 2009 Paladino Live. So that was a fun video to make. It took about 3 hours. Well, editing takes forever, folks. It really does. Especially if you wanted to make it look a little bit somewhat more professional than other people out there. And, yeah, the Wolves are definitely giving away tickets. I can't believe how cheap the ticket prices are in this town for the Wolves. It's been amazing. I need to get my butt to a game as soon as possible. Just my early morning schedule doesn't always help, but right now I have a lot of time off. Maybe I can get something going here in the next week. At least get to some game of some kind soon. I really should. Flynn's, like the victory over Utah, both of them were just really entertaining. The one on the road, though, was pretty amazing. I bet nobody saw that thing coming. And that move on Darren Williams was beautiful. It really was. And Johnny Flynn, to the point, about a couple of episodes ago, I was saying how, man, it seems like nobody on this team can hit that big shot down the stretch. And Flynn was the guy that did. It wasn't necessarily a shot, but it was a scoring play, and it was a legitimate scoring play. It wasn't lucky. It wasn't just a ugly, boring, little tip in or something. Like somebody else missed and you just tipped it in. No offense to Damian Wilkins, but that wasn't like a great play. It was just a fortunate play, and it was gutty as well on Damian's part because he was falling backwards when he was able to get it up. But a little bit more luck involved. The ball happened to bounce to him and not the other direction. If it went the other way, well, the Wolves would have lost the game. So, because that was a one-point game at the time. Good play by Johnny Flynn, no doubt about it. Yeah, that's really great. That Corey Brewer dunk was one of the dunks of the year. Definitely one of the plays of the whole season. It was on the front page of NBA.com, and yes, NBA TV was talking about it quite a bit. That was awesome stuff. And now I'll get to your final point, which will segue perfectly into where I'm headed right now. You don't see Al Jefferson staying very long. And you know what? I'm not really sure either. I'm not really sure if he'll be staying very long either. But I've been impressed with him the past couple of weeks. He has been playing more of a triangle-friendly type of game with those nice kick-out passes because that's how the triangle works. The ball goes in and it goes out and it goes around and in and out and around and all that good stuff. Jefferson's getting a little better at it. But ultimately, yeah, I'm not really sure he's in the Wolves' long-term plans. I've never really felt that. But he does seem like he does seem like he fits in better than he did. So that's all up in the air. I'm going to have a poll on Jefferson also in a second, but I'm going to very quickly get to an article here before this gets too much longer. And again, I apologize to those of you out there that want this podcast to be 30 minutes or less. It's just not going to be today. There was a lot to cover. I was going to do the show yesterday so I could add the Hawks show on next week's show, but it didn't work out. I'm sorry. I apologize. That's kind of another 10 minutes or so to the show. So here we go. There was an article in the Pioneer Press talking about how Timberwolves GM David Kahn expects to finish the season with the current players. So that might nix a trade for Al Jefferson coming February. We'll see, though. And his reason is he wants the full season to evaluate his young players. And his quote is, "I haven't made one trade call since we started the regular season." So that's very interesting. Very interesting, if he's telling the truth. "I really feel the players we have deserve to be evaluated on a season-long basis. I would be content if we don't make a move." So far, David Kahn hasn't been too, he hasn't kind of thrown out like lies or anything so far. A lot of GMs lie, and even though there's a trade on the block right now about to happen, and they say that, but we'll see what happens, though. To be honest, as David Kahn also continues saying that, as they say, how David Kahn's mental toughness will continue to be challenged. "I don't want to try to put a happy spin on everything. People can see through that. What our fans deserve this season is honesty. Everybody recognizes that we need to add players." Kahn admitted, well, there you go, that he has had a few calls from other teams asking about possible deals, but the talks did not progress, and Kahn declined to identify the teams or Wolves players in question. And of course, he's going to do that. Maybe off the record, he mentioned those, but not on the record. He also go back to that awful 41-point loss against the Golden State Warriors. Kahn recognized or criticized the players for having no fight and promised changes would be made if the pattern of poor play continued. Blah blah blah. Continues on there. Wolves started to play a little better though. Not too long after that, beating Denver and Utah twice. Denver once. That was nice. We've had some bad losses since Golden State, but we haven't given in like we did in that one. We're getting better in a lot of ways, and I agree with that as well. That quote, "I've said on a number of occasions recently that I've seen the light come on with our guys," Rambis said. So now we're getting to Rambis here. They're starting to get it. You can hear them talking through their mistakes during the games and making the corrections. And yeah, that's really good to hear. You like players that are more, focused on growth or focused on growing. So that's the good part. Ryan Gomes, who was mentioned to be out a few weeks, and he's been out the past 5 games already with that high left ankle sprain, returned to practice Monday, but his status for yesterday's game, or tonight's game actually, tonight's particular game is uncertain. He still doesn't look 100%, Rambis said of Gomes. "We want to see how he responds at the shoot-around, but still unavailable." Gomes has started in the absence. The Wolves are 2-3 since. Gomes was injured December 12th in Sacramento. So that concludes that. Lots of interesting stuff there. There's been calls, but he's kind of pretty much putting the kibosh on a trade at this point in time. We'll see how long that goes. So that will segue me into the very final segment. Or not segment, the very final deal here. On the sportstuff.com, on the message boards on the sportstuff.com, which I do want you to sign up for. I'll say that right now. There's a button in the upper right-hand corner in the TSS boards. Do click on that. That's how you can sign up. There's a register link. Bob from Minneapolis, hey, come on here. We need more support for the Wolves here on these message boards here. It'd be great to have you on board if you'd be willing to do that. Of course, it's 100% free and 100% fun, and that includes the rest of you. Aussie Wolf was nice enough to join a few months ago, and he's been a good contributor on there. But the question is, the poll question I put in the Timberwolves Explosion section, you're on the boards, then you go to the podcast section, and then the Timberwolves Explosion section. The poll is, how long will the Wolves keep Al Jefferson? There are 4 possible answers. Long term is 1. Another year or so, a trade could happen, is 2. Where a trade could happen in another year or so. 3 is he'll be traded by this summer, and number 4, he'll be traded by the February deadline. So do make your comment right there. Right now, I'm thinking he'll be. I'll go with number 3 at this point in time with my gut feeling. He'll be traded this summer, so which could include the draft. That's obviously after the season. So there you go. That's my current vote for this. So please get on there and vote. Also, don't forget to comment if you'd like to comment your reasoning why, or just conversate with me and other members of the boards. It'd be terrific. So nice to have you on board. Also, be sure to check out that video, youtube.com/Pellet and Joe. Took about 3 hours. It'd be nice to have somebody watch it for all that work, even though I didn't make any money doing it. So it'd be great to have you listen to that. Also, do check out TimberwolvesPress.com if you'd like as well. Until then, guys, we're gonna call it a week. Again, I apologize. This is about 40 plus minutes now. I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. It'll be, I definitely guarantee, a shorter show next week unless some massive trade happens, which I doubt will happen during the Christmas week here. I don't think that's going to happen. That'd be kind of harsh. But yeah, I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever it is. Thank you all very much. And we'll have one final show of 2009 next year, and then we'll get into 2010. Things will get super interesting with trades and free agency, and who knows what else. But overall, we'll just keep covering this club right off the bat in January 2010. So we'll talk to you soon. Take care.